Hello everybody, it's Dan Mountain here for Gooner Fanzine TV. I'm outside the Emirates after Arsenal's disappointing, frustrating 2-1 defeat against Chelsea. I'm here on my own, unfortunately, because the rest of the crew are sat at home eating their body weight in leftover Christmas turkey. Yeah, I've just come straight from Mikel Arteta's press conference after that defeat, and he's just as deflated as the rest of us, really. So he was obviously asked about the performance, and he said, very disappointed with the result. He's pleased with the positives that he can take from the game. There were a lot of positives. I think everyone could see that. They played with a real intensity, a real tempo, dominated the game in the first half. When Chelsea made that switch to the back four, the Blues took control. Chelsea really started to dominate, and obviously there was the mistakes at the end, which we'll come on to. But yeah, he was just as frustrated as the rest of us, understandably. But he is pleased that the players are taking on board what he's trying to get across to them in training, and they're buying into what he wants. He spoke about that in his first press conference, actually. He said about, everyone needs to get on board with what I want, or else, I'm going to be ruthless and you won't be here. And it is good to see players buying into that. Still bits to work on, obviously. The defensive side of things, not great. He was asked about the mistake that Bernd Leno made for the equaliser. He came for a cross and got nowhere near it, got caught underneath it, flapped at it. The ball fell for Jorginho, which we'll also come on to, another big talking point. Yeah, and Jorginho tapped it home. Chelsea equalised. Really frustrating. He was asked about the mistake, and he said, we have to help lift Bernd Leno up. Everyone makes mistakes, but he's obviously going to be down, but we have to try and get him back and lift him. And he did say he's obviously been magnificent for the club. He's been superb this season, as we've seen. Probably Arsenal's, one of the contenders for Arsenal's player of the season so far. But the mistake did cost them today. He has been prone to making them. He made a few last season. But every goalkeeper makes mistakes. It's only natural, and Arteta, knows that happens, and he wants the squad to help lift the goalkeeper. But so hopefully we can see that. And as I say, Jorginho obviously scored the equaliser. For me, he shouldn't have been on the pitch. He got booked in the first half for a foul on Lacazette. Oh, no, sorry, that was in the second half. He got booked for a foul on Lacazette. Bit of a scuffle by the touchline, and then about 10-15 minutes later, Arsenal were on the break. Guendouzi running through midfield, and Jorginho just pulled him back. Referee Craig Pawson actually pulled out the yellow card, only to then put it away. Looked like Jorginho was going to be sent off, and then Craig Pawson basically bottled the decision for me, to put it frankly. He should have been sent off. I think everyone agreed with that. That's what VAR is there for, and it didn't look like it was used. So that was incredibly frustrating. Obviously, then Jorginho goes on to score. Chelsea play with 10 men for the rest of the game. They equalise and then score the winner. Would have changed it massively. Arteta was asked about it, obviously, and he said, I personally prefer not to speak about it, but he said, for me it was clear, and it was clear. It was an obvious second bookable offence, and he shouldn't have been on the pitch. I think everyone can agree with that. I think even most Chelsea fans would agree with that. So yeah, really, really frustrating decision that went against Arsenal. You could also look at the defensive side of things again. For the winner, obviously, Arsenal had the ball in the Chelsea box, and then 3-4 passes later, Chelsea got the ball in the back of Arsenal's net. The defending wasn't great. There were too many players committed forward. Arteta was asked, did he think his side were naive in terms of committing so many men forward in that moment? He said that was the structure we want in that moment, because we want to go and try and win the game. It was 1-1 at that point, and you do want to go and try and win the game, especially after playing so well, because Arsenal were superb for an hour today. They were fantastic. They battled hard, worked really, really well as a team. They fought for each other. They played with an intensity, with a tempo. Mesut Ozil was superb, as was Reece Nelson, but they just threw it away at the end. And Arteta did say, the structure was as it wanted, but the way we conceded the goals and the time that the goals came was very frustrating, and that is where a lot of his frustration came from, obviously, and understandably. He was asked about Granit Xhaka as well. Obviously, he didn't play today. Club confirmed that he was out with illness. We know he has been linked with a move to Germany. Hertha Berlin are interested in signing him in January. There has been talks between the club, Xhaka, and Xhaka's agent. Obviously, didn't feature today. Arteta was asked, and he said, he played against Bournemouth. He played really well, and then after the game, he started to feel ill. He didn't train for the past 2 days, which is understandable if that is the case. So yeah, and he was obviously asked, is he going to leave in January? And Mikel Arteta, who has spoken in glowing terms about Granit Xhaka since his arrival, he said, I tried to sign him for Man City. He's a really good footballer. He's a player who's going to be key for me. And he was asked, is he going to leave in January, basically? And Arteta said, no, we want him to stay, and I hope he doesn't leave, basically. So that was an interesting take. Overall, in terms of the way Arteta was in his kind of body language in the press conference, he seemed deflated. I think everyone in the stadium was off such a positive performance that had such a negative ending. it was quite defiant on a few of the things, but I think it was, as we all were, just so frustrated because Arsenal were really good. There's no other way to put it. Basically, they were really good in the first half, in complete and utter control. When Chelsea changed that back four, they obviously started with a back three, and Arsenal having a lot of joy down the right hand side, especially with Nelson and Mesut Ozil linking really well together. Yeah, the change in system from Frank Lampard basically changed the game pretty much. It was a game of two halves, really. You can understand the frustration from Arteta, from the fans, but there are positives to take. That has to be remembered. He's only had 2 games. He's only been here, what, two weeks now? 2 weeks. It's probably the worst time for managers to come into a club. He's got, you know, a packed schedule. Obviously, Manchester United coming up on New Year's Day. Massive opportunity to show another performance like that, but correct the mistakes that were made today. Hopefully, we can see that. But as I say, it's probably the most difficult time to come into a club that is in crisis, basically. Hopefully we'll see some kind of turnaround. I think more chances need to be created. I think obviously the defence is an issue that needs to be sorted. Callum Chambers went off injured today. It was not a good sign. Obviously Socrates is likely to miss the Manchester United game as well. He's got concussion from the Bournemouth game. David Luiz was okay today actually, so positives from him. Stafford was okay until he so easily turned for the winner. But hopefully we can see some kind of upturn from Mikel Arteta's side. But yeah, that's it from me here at the Emirates on another disappointing day. It's 1 win in 15 for Arsenal now. Really not good. Need to turn this around sooner rather than later. But yeah, make sure you watch all the Gooner Fanzine TV videos we've got out at the moment. There's a Christmas quiz coming soon. We've got our worst 11 of the decade. They're a shocking team, terrible team. Yeah, obviously got other post-match stuff coming up. Have my player ratings from today's game. But yeah, make sure you watch, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, get everyone watching, because we're really trying hard to be a refreshing, positive, knowledgeable voice for Arsenal fans. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Cheers.